Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. The WBC champion Deontay Wilder has brought in amateur talent Emanuel Odiase out of Germany ahead of his rematch with Tyson Fury on February 22nd in Las Vegas. So you can see here on screen Odiase is working with Malik Scott, who's also been in Wilder's training camp on a couple of occasions. Odiase, a big, tall, limber guy, and you can see here good movement. So he's been brought in to try replicate what Tyson Fury does. And Deontay Wilder's had a lot of sparring partners in this camp, among them New Zealander Junior Farr, who's been there for about 10 days or so now. Also, apart from Malik Scott, in this photo here, another Scott post from his Instagram, you've got Robert Alfonso. Deontay Wilder bringing in good, tall guys who can move. Whether he'll be able to have success against Tyson Fury, just 2 weeks to find out. Heavyweight Dave Allen says no one should be questioning whether he is fit to return to the ring. Allen's last fight was against David Price, and he was battered over 10 rounds, completely outclassed by Price. And also Allen has made statements before that he would be stepping away from boxing, that his mental health has not been good, and also he's been suffering physical ailments. But he says on his social media, "For anyone questioning my health and physical well-being, I have been through the most stringent testing and I'm 100% physically fit to fight Saturday night and cleared by all kinds of specialists. Not been the easiest 7 months, but I'm fighting fit and back living my dream." X. And he is going to be fighting Dorian Darch on the Calbrook undercard this weekend. Also, Dave Allen, he's posted that he's super happy to be back doing his thing with a series of photos from the open workout, as you can see here. 3 of them, if I can find the third one, that's it. Joseph Parker has been working with Carlos Takam ahead of his fight on February the 29th in Frisco, Texas against Shondell Winters. Parker just added to that card with Winters being confirmed as the opponent. And Carlos Takam has his own fight coming up at the end of the month, but opponent still TBA. He is now working with Top Rank and ESPN along with Star Boxing. That'll be his first fight on that new co-promotional deal. But Parker saying here, solid rounds with Carlos Takam. Hashtag Feb29. And it's actually unclear where the Parker fight will be playing in New Zealand and the Southern Hemisphere more broadly. So on screen here towards the bottom of this post by Duco Events. So Duco Events owner David Higgins manages and advises Joseph Parker. But the Duco Events post on Instagram says Parker vs. Winter will be live on DAZN and TBC in the Southern Hemisphere. Stay tuned for more details. But really, there's only 2 providers that I can see being the front runners for this. Sky Sports New Zealand, which has broadcast all of Parker's fights, I believe, from the get-go. But also you have Spark Sport, which is an entity that has sort of risen up in the past year. It's owned by Spark New Zealand, a big telco. So we'll have to see what happens here with the rights, because with Parker's deal with Duco and the 7 years, etc., ending, that sort of has things up for negotiation on an ongoing basis. So we'll see what happens with the broadcasting arrangements. But no doubt it will be on pay-per-view in New Zealand. Not the greatest fight for a pay-per-view, but it is, I guess in other parts of the world, it's a subscription service with DAZN. DAZN not operating in New Zealand at the moment. Gerald Washington says he plans to hunt down Anthony Joshua if he gets past Charles Martin. So this is what he's told Sky Sports. "We're working to be next IBF mandatory after Kubrat Pulev. I got to see AJ firsthand in Saudi Arabia. He's a great fighter. That's our goal. Martin is first though, and he's very talented. An ex-world champion, very tough and strong-willed. I'm looking forward to competing with him. I believe if I do my job well, not force anything, the stoppage will eventually happen naturally. To have this fight on one of the biggest cards with the world's eyes watching, this is a great opportunity for me to do my thing." And him and Martin are going to be the co-main event on the Wilder and Fury pay-per-view card. And just on what he was saying there about the IBF, this is an IBF eliminator, but the IBF has not designated it a final eliminator. But you can hear from what Gerald Washington is saying that they're hoping that the winner of this fight will be the next mandatory. But I think maybe that's a little optimistic. Washington currently currently 9th in the rankings, Charles Martin 11th, and Martin's only just joined the rankings about a month or so ago. So I think it's a little optimistic for it to be the next mandatory. I could actually see the winner of this fight being put into a final eliminator. And if we're honest, I think that's going to be probably fairer than just these two guys who are lower down on the rankings getting the next mandatory spot. But he also says, and you might have heard there that he talked about being in Saudi Arabia. He was Andy Ruiz Jr.'s main sparring partner. So he says, I helped Ruiz Jr. It was a great experience for myself. I don't have much amateur experience or too many fights on the record, so it was brilliant for me to learn and get better. Being in the ring with Andy and knowing his style, I understand what happened in the first fight. Joshua done a great job preparing himself for the return though, not allowing it to happen again. My full focus is on Charles Martin and I'm not looking at AJ right now. I know he has a couple of tests in front of him. We'll just have to keep on track and see what the future holds for everyone. And so just clarifying again, so Martin at the moment, he is number 11. You can see here the IBF rankings on screen, and Washington number 9. So it is, in my view, optimistic to believe that this eliminator will be a final eliminator. I would be very surprised if it was. The 13-0 Ukrainian prospect Vladislav Sorento has announced that his next fight will be against the South African Jermell Miller, who was formerly a cruiserweight. So he says next fight will be for the WBC Asia belt, and this is from his Instagram. Happy to announce my next fight, guys. I will fight at March 28 in Karlsruhe, Germany. I have an opportunity to take a WBC belt, and I don't want to miss it. My opponent is Jermell Miller from South Africa. I saw a few of his fights, and I think we can show a good battle. Thanks to my team for this opportunity, and thanks to all of you for your support. Together to the victory. That is Vladislav Sorento on his Instagram. And just rounding out this heavyweight news mashup video, Jermell Miller has called out a slew of names in the heavyweight division for his next fight. Most of them completely unrealistic, but you can see here this graphic, I'm back, and it's actually got, I think, Fury, and this must be Wilder here. He says, I'm for what's mine, all you punks on notice. I'm off, timeout. So he's calling his 6 months out of the WBA rankings a timeout here. Obviously, he was dumped from the rankings because of 3 failed performance-enhancing drug tests. But he's said at Bronze Bomber, at Gypsy King, at Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, at Carlos Takam, Top Rank, ESPN, hell is coming. And of the names that are there, the only realistic one that I can see happening anytime soon, given he's just signed a new ESPN deal and his stock is down in the division, is the Carlos Takam one. And of those names, that is definitely most likely to be his first fight with Top Rank in 2020. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.